Hello, and welcome to your Online Strength Coach Podcast, episode 57, When to Introduce Reps. Hello, and welcome to your Online Strength Coach Podcast. Today is the 16th of November, 2015. Today's question was left under the comments section under episode 56. PL700 asks, question for you, Mark. Let's say I have 4 blocks, 10s, 8s, 5s, 3s. Each block is 3 sessions of each lift. Let's also say I'm going to be adding in knee wraps at some point. Never use wraps consistently before. Where do I add in the wraps? On the 5s or the 3s? My gut says light wraps on 5s, then tighter on 3s. Thoughts? It depends when you're going to use the wraps and to what end you're going to use the wraps. It can take, depending on how tight you're putting the wraps or how you're using them, it can take like 3 to 4 sessions of just using the wraps to be able to actually find your line and see where you're going to sit into. You'll find that it does actually change the dynamics of the lift quite a lot. You might, for instance, if you're a knee heavy squatter, like you'd like to break at the knee first and sit in the nice deep upright squat, you might find that in wraps, because of the restrictive nature of the wrap, you can't push in like that into the squat. It's very difficult to break knees first into a wrapped squat. You're going to need to sit back more and sit down, and as you sit back and down, then that extra little bit of compression into the squat's going to ease the knee bend into the squat, and then once the weight starts pushing down on you as you've broken, you should find sitting into the squat a lot easier. That was the biggest mistake that I was making when I first ever wore wraps. Was I obviously was trying to maintain or trying to be up too upright or break it into the squat in more of a high bar manner, or maybe breaking into the squat. Whatever way I was breaking into the squat, I was trying to bend at the knees first, and that completely fucked me up with the knee wraps. So what I'd say is, so we're talking here a 12-week block. I would probably add the blocks. I'd probably add the wraps somewhere in the 8s, just to have a go at them. Maybe do the 10s, like if it's 3 sessions of 10, 3 sessions of 10s, just kind of run through it, start to build a little bit of momentum. Then as you go into the 8s, you might want to maybe go 2 sessions or 3 sessions. Maybe you go 2 sets of 8 each session. So if it's 3 sets of 8, maybe what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 sets of 8 raw, and then a set of 8 in the wraps first week. Next week, maybe you do 1 set of 8 without, 2 sets of 8 with. Then the next week you go 3 sets of 8 in the wraps. And that's just going to give you a chance to get used to get you more exposure to the wraps before you start getting into the business end of the block where you're doing 5s and 3s. I'm not entirely sure I would maybe go light wraps first. You can maybe go try different styles wraps, like you can do crossover, or you can just do like a spiral wrap, a good tight spiral wrap. I would probably venture that you're better off going for a tight wrap and just getting used to moving within a tight wrap. I'm not necessarily sure what you're going to benefit out of a lighter wrap unless it's like your first time using them, in which case you might want to just have a go at them, look how they change it. But what I would do is, since like with the 8s, it's not going to be ground shaking weight, so it can be that if you try to use wraps for the first time and you're trying to use supra maximal weights, so you're trying to use weights heavier than 1 RM, which is how I started using them, which I think is not the right way to use them. you've got two things to worry about. You got to worry about the wraps, which are going to change your line, and you're going to have to worry about the weight in your back, which is heavier or approaching a heavier weight than you've used before. So my suggestion would be to introduce them maybe on a 12-week block. I would introduce them in week 4 and use them for the rest of the time. Most of the conversion you're gonna get from using a wrap is learn how to use them. You will be stronger in wraps, so there's almost no question of that. But if you introduce them too early in the cycle, my hesitation with the 5s and the 3s would be, if you have 3 sessions of the 5s and you're using a light wrap, let's say you're using a fairly light wrap, maybe you don't find it so restrictive on your knee, and if you're maybe more of a knee dominant squatter, or you like to break at the knee first, you might actually find, oh, this is okay, I can actually break like that. A lot of weightlifters, for example, like to squat in light bands, like compressive bands, whereas if they were to put on a knee wrap as it's supposed to be put on as an aid for the lift, they'd find they probably wouldn't be able to break into their squat the way they would want to, and that would throw off their line. So that's why I would be reasonably hesitant to introduce a light wrap. You could maybe introduce it into the 5s, but introduce it as a heavy wrap in the 5s, so then at least you're going to get 6 sessions in them. But yeah, I would introduce them sooner rather than later. Some people might say 8s is too heavy or too many reps for wraps, but I don't think so. I think the 8s is going to mean that the weight in the bar is going to necessarily be lighter, and that lighter weight on the bar is also going to give you more reps and more practice to kind of sit into the correct line, because you will have a different line in wraps than you do outer wraps. So they will just give you some time to adjust to that and kind of find. You might want to put your feet in a slightly more different position. You might not want to initiate differently. You might want to put the bar in a different place. I mean, it just gives you a chance to play about with a few things, rather than going light wraps for 5s, have a block of 3s, and let's say you've got a comp coming up, you've got 3 sessions coming up to the comp to get used to the wraps, which is not enough time. I would definitely err on the side of more time than less time, and they're uncomfortable to wear and whatnot, but you'll get used to that. And I think it's better to train in the environment that you're going to compete in, or to best utilize the equipment that you're going to use. So, for example, at the minute, because I don't have any comps on the horizon, I'm training almost completely out of any supportive equipment at all. Whereas if I had a comp coming up, then I'd want to do, I'd like to train the belt for a minimum of 6 weeks, just to get used to it and to train with it and to kind of get used to how it's going to change it. And certainly if I was going to do a comp with wraps again, I definitely would train in wraps for like at least 6 weeks, a minimum of 6 weeks. I would probably train with wraps probably 10, 12 weeks. And again, it's just what we've been talking about before, taking the time to get used to the equipment, learn how to best utilize it, give you a chance to not be taken aback with, oh fuck, this is really painful, oh fuck, this is really changing my line, I don't like these. And I'm trying to use heavy weight at the same time as using the wraps, and it's too much at once. You're better off, in my opinion, starting off with the 8s, with the lighter weight, and just taking those 9 weeks or those 9 sessions to get used to the wraps. And I'd put them on, if not like super tight, like comp tight, definitely put them on tight. No point putting them on like reasonably lightly. And maybe said lighter. Don't know. Let me look at the question again. Yeah, fuck light wraps. Just to go like a lighter wrap, but still a hard wrap or a tight wrap. That would be my take on it. Again, I'm not like a super equipped lifting aficionado, but I have done a few equipped comps and I have used wraps before, and that would be my take on it. Okay, hopefully that's answered your question. I would like to do a couple of episodes this week, so if you could ask some questions below in the comment section, send me some questions to speedpowerperformance@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook, Cast Iron Strength. That'd be greatly appreciated. I'll try to get back to you by probably Thursday. Okay, that completes episode 57 of the Online Strength Coach podcast. I've been Mark. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Goodbye. Some music on.